I'm here today with Carla, who's the president of the board of directors for the NCIHC. Carla, what do you do as president, and kind of what are your general duties?
Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, wherever you may be. So I'm fairly new at the role, having taken over as president in April, but pretty much you create the agenda or you finalize the agenda and you preside at all board meetings and executive committee meetings. It's on average 2 90-minute meetings per month, specific to the board and for the executive committee. You also have to call for special meetings. We just had a phenomenally successful Congress, Language Access Congress. And there were certain times that we had to call for special meetings because we had to make decisions to move things forward. So occasionally throughout the year, we may have to call for a special meeting of the board so that we can make some decisions that are time sensitive. Another one of the items that is really important is that you get to act as a spokesperson for NCIHC. All with the spirit of making sure that you're progressing and promoting the mission of what we do. Sometimes when horrible things happen across the country or the world, you also end up opining on it and making sure that, we live our mission of making sure that everyone has access to effective communication in healthcare. The other thing that was really interesting is, just identifying the trends and the challenges, right? That I've done my whole life working in language access for over 34 years, but you have to consistently be ahead of the trends, right? You have to consistently look down the tunnel and say, okay, what are we doing about AI? How's that going to impact us? How's that going to impact patients with LEP? How's it going to impact our medical interpreters? Is it all good? Is it all bad? Or is it somewhere in between with some safety guardrails? So you kind of have to always keep your eye on the ball, literally, and be able to envision what's coming down and how that's going to mold or impact language access in healthcare specifically. And then the last thing, and there's tons of things that you do, but the things that resonate more with me is just keeping all of the stakeholders informed about what we're doing. And that is a work in progress each and every time, because you can never over communicate what's happening, what we're doing, and what we need help with. So that helps us shape the strategies for NCIHC going forward. And one other thing was meeting with other organizations on initiatives that they want to collaborate with. That is a really important thing because we can't do this by ourselves. And we have so many allies out there that sometimes just need us to help out with their project or to maybe give them some feedback on something that they're experiencing. So that's part of what I do as well.
Wow, that really helps kind of help us understand the meetings and decisions that you're involved with every month. What specific committees are you supposed to be a part of?
So I'm an ex officio member of any committee. So I can pop in anytime I want. And I would really encourage whoever becomes president to do the same. It's great when we can actually sit through a meeting of the different work groups or the different committees and really hear how they create things, how their projects are going, what they need help with. So one is the board meeting, right? Every month I sit and preside over the board meeting. And then prior to the board meeting, we have the executive committee meeting. And I sit and preside over that as well. And I'm also part of the outreach membership committee. You don't have to be part of the committee, but that's the committee that I was on as a board member. And I have a certain fondness for a couple of the projects that we're doing, including the On the Road work group. So I still remain active in that as well.
Okay. What would you say to someone who would like to run for president of the board?
I would say, because I ran for VP and then became president, I would say to really give it some good thought. You do need to have time commitment for this. On average, I'm spending 25 to 30 hours a month with this. And in some cases, a little bit more, depending if it's like, the Congress going on or something else. But on average, about 25 to 30 hours a month. It's been a great experience for me, but you have to have the time to dedicate to this. You really need to be attentive to detail because there's a lot of detail that comes across. And you have to make sure that you really give it some thoughtful consideration before moving it to one side or the other, But here's the great news. The great news is that failure is not an option. You're surrounded by a group of subject matter experts that failure is not an option. Trust me, they have helped me so much that, you will be surrounded with the support that you need. As a matter of fact, come April, I revert back to my vice president role. So, I will be there as a resource for you as well. But, it takes a fair amount of research into areas that I thought I was kind of knowledgeable about, but you're not always as knowledgeable. And if you're going to kind of help mold or shape something, you really have to do a little bit of research so that you can stay, current with what's happening out there in the industry. But, the other thing is we're a volunteer organization, except for our two contract admins who we couldn't do without. It's a purely voluntary organization. And it wasn't until I really became president and I started interacting with the different work groups and the different committees that I literally saw what a dedicated group of volunteers we have. And that's what I mean. You will never walk alone with this group. You just have to tell them what you need, and they really literally are there to support you. So I think it's a wonderful opportunity. We really need great leadership coming in, but, do not make the mistake that it isn't somewhat time intensive, that you need to be able to have the flexibility to take that on.
Well, that's great information for anybody who's interested. So thank you, Carla. Really appreciate your time today.
My pleasure. And thank you for doing this as well.